So, and for that exploratory data analysis, I have discussed about data summarizations. So in data summarizations, what this data summarization will tell you, this will tell you nature of the data, central tendency of the data, dispersion of the data. So that thing will help you to when you go for pre-processing or exploratory data analysis, then these data summarization will help you. Like if you know the mean of your data, you know the median of the data, you know the mode of the data, you know the quartile of the data, interquartile of the data, standard deviation of the data, or variance of the data, if you know uh, outliers in your data, that so all the things will help you during data uh, pre-processing. All this exploratory analysis will help you. So even though I have taken one good example, which I am where I am working at presently, I am working on some medical data. So I have downloaded that data from UCI repositories. Then I have applied the all statistical and analytics, or you can say the exploratory data analysis on that data. I have found the what first I have done that some choosing some Java libraries and some functions and draw the statistical analysis. So through that I found what is the mean of each attribute, what is the median mode, and missing values, how many missing values in particular field, like that. And I have drawn the correlation chart, which will give you relation between two attributes or variables. And after that I have drawn the heap chart and histogram for data dispersion. If you want to see the data dispersion, how your data is there skewness or not in your data, or your data is symmetric, dispersed symmetrically or asymmetrically, then you can find out by the draw the histogram. So all functions are available in your Java or Python language. Maybe Dr. Sunil is, I think, teaching you. He will show you. And so these things will help you. And even I applied the filling the missing value. You cannot just fill the missing value. You can choose 2 3 methods and compare them, and if and choose the lesser if the after filling the missing value by the some method having the less deviation, then you can choose that method. Similarly, you can go for feature selection. So you can also go for feature selection. My suggestion, you not don't use a single method. You try to apply 3 4 methods and compare. Or some, if sometime variation are more in rank of attribute, then you can go for average rank of all methods. So this is the way to done pre-processing or exploratory analysis in your data science. And so today's talk my is very simple talk, which is based on just data mining. I think all of you are aware with this subject. And if all of you if you did a PG course or a PhD, so most of, I think, known the. So just today's talk nothing new, just I am repeating or giving the again a overview, or for refreshing you, just I am going to review on this simple, what is the data mining, what are the functions, what are the association rule mining, classification, clustering, and their basic methods. So there was the one question, I think, in yesterday class from the some, I think, a social science student. He want to know in their work in generally they will consider the standard deviation +5 to -5, or -5 to +5. So I think this is a very common thing in general. If you are going to consider something, then you can give your justification. You are under this range, -5 to +5. This is a common practice. So I think everywhere we are considering, but it depends on the application to application. So in maximum applications or problems, there is the flexibility you can consider plus or minus +5 to -5 in your standard deviation when you are considering a thing. So this is, I think, a common practice, or you can use this, but depend on some application. If there is some constraint, then you cannot do this. So now I'm going to talk my today's presentation. So my slide is visible.
Yes. Sir, just one request.
Sir. Yes.
Yes. Sir, is it possible for you to share the yesterday's presentation PDF?
Yeah, I'll give you.
So
but
please
send to me. Last slide I will not give you. That last my research work that I am doing. So that last slide means which experimental work. Other than
okay.
I'll give you. Other than I'll give you.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, please send it to Sunita ma'am so that she can.
Yeah. Okay.
It will be uploaded on YouTube also within 1 hour. You can check. I will share the link also.
Okay. I'll give you after this presentation. So my today's talk on simple data mining and its functions, and what type of algorithms available for the functions of data mining. So this is, I am just for your time knowledge, I am sharing these slides of this book, the Hen and Kember book. These are not my slides, but these are slides from the Hen and Kember book. That's why I mentioned the reference also at the last of this presentation. Same is available in front, this first slide. So because due to copyright, so I'm sharing the same, I am using the same slides. So what is the data mining? I think why data mining? First is why data mining. So reason is that behind this data mining, or before that I want to say why I am discussing, or this topic is given me, because your data science is just the next in continuation of the data mining. So if you know the basic things of all data mining, then you can I think very work in the very well in work in the data science. It will help you because all functions are available when you are playing with your data. So you should know what is the association rule mining. You should know how to cluster the data, how to classify the data. So all operations is there when you are playing with your data in your data science. So that's why these basic things are required. So why data mining? So why data mining? First thing is, yesterday also I said the same thing I am repeating. Reason is that we have enough data now in this time, one thing, and variety of data, and second thing, we have a sufficient space or memory available for performing the operation, and third thing, we have a sufficient processing speed. So the three things are available. So this will push us to do something or operation on data. So as the data is available in petabyte or zettabyte or more than this, and per day we are getting the data through the various sources, from your online transactions or e-commerce, or through your sensors or your social sites or your social sites. So the all sources are uh, are playing the important role for producing the data. So that's why we are looking for the data mining. So what is this data mining? Again, there is nothing. Same are available in your books, or the same slides is there. So just the extraction of knowledge or patterns from huge amount data. As yesterday I said, your pre-processing is based on garbage in and garbage out. So when you are entering your garbage data, it's a garbage. You are searching something, a gold or knowledge from that garbage, and again throwing that garbage, and only the keeping with you that knowledge. So this data mining is just a extraction of knowledge from huge amount data, or this is, so what kind of the pattern? So the pattern should be a non-trivial, implicit, previously unknown, and potential useful. So if they are not a useful or they are unknown previously, then no one will accept it. So that's why this would be unknown and useful. And this data mining, as we know, the one of the step of your knowledge discovery from data process, KDD, that is called the KDD process. So what is that KDD process? Before that, there are some data mining applications. So because why we are looking for this subjects or data science, so same applications, whatever the data science, same applications of data mining. The market basket analysis, in target marketing you can use this, customer relationship management, market basket analysis. So you can the how to increase the sale of a particular product, the how the companies are launching your combo package, how the companies are launching the some uh, extra product with the main product, like they will give you some uh, buy one get one kind of, you will get the uh, they have the schemes for purchasing the product. So the all the things, all these how they are doing. So behind this only the data mining is running. So for risk analysis, also for forecasting, everywhere for forecasting, other forecasting everywhere, or sell forecasting, or so you are using customer retentions in this risk analysis, quality control everywhere, and fraud detection is very important applications of the data mining. So other applications like you can, how you can classify the news. So this application in text mining, document classification is also uh, uh, how your machine can read your automatic maintain the automatic library. If you are maintaining automatic library, then how classify the books by name of that or title of the book. So that the text mining will play their role. Streaming data mining nowadays is very important, all of you know, because the online, we are working on online data or stream of data. So this is very important. The nowadays without driver train is there, without driver is car is running. So how this is possible? So when you are analyzing the online data and giving the feedback to your machine, so or guiding your machine, or on there's a traffic handling, online traffic handling. So this for this streaming data mining, the application of the data mining is very important. And bioinformatics cases for drug design, for mm, uh, other cases in bioinformatics for disease symptoms, behavior. So all cases, this biomedical data and bioinformatics, the data mining is very important. So again, this is the very old figure, or everyone knows this figure. Yesterday we also talked about this. So this KDD process is there. So the first step in this process, the collection of the data. As yesterday we discussed, when you are going to mine or something, or we want to extract info knowledge from the data. So first you need to collect the data and related data. For your problem related data, you have to collect from the different sources. Then you have to integrate that data. Suppose you are going for integration of the data. So yesterday we talked, when you are integrating, so what kind of problem will come. So during the integration, you have to match schema, mapping of the schema. You have to map the schema, because as you are collecting data from different sources, as you are collecting data from different sources, schema may be a different. One schema having a 7 attributes, another schema having the 10 attributes, third schema having a 5 attributes. Now you are clubbing the all three data in a under unified schema or a single schema. So you need a mapping. So for mapping, you need map the individual attribute of schema. So for that, I discussed about how you can map by chi-square test, by Pearson coefficient, correlation coefficient, by covariance method. So you can use that and map accordingly. Then you can match if there is a redundancy, same record you don't want to we want to delete, or we don't want to place in our new record, a new schema. So you can duplicate. You can again find out again the redundancy by same kind of the methods and delete that duplicacy or redundancy. And other than you creation, you can create a new attribute or feature. You can transform the feature. As yesterday I talked to, like a date of birth is given in a date of birth is given, and you want to you don't want to keep date of birth in your new data or new schema. You want to keep only age in years. So now you have to transform your age, that attribute, in new values. So that kind of the things. Or as I said, if age is given in years, you want to put in categorical form, like youth, like old, adult and child. Then again you have to transform. So these kind of operations are required when you are going for data integration. Once you integrate your data, you have to clean your data. So data cleaning, yesterday we discussed, is missing values is there, outliers is there. So for missing value also we discussed a lot of method: replace by mean, replace by average value, replace by class mean, replace by global mean, replace by constant value. So if null values are there, if so, there are the thumb rule. If you, in your data more than 25% values are null, then you can discard. Otherwise, you can fill. So this is filling, discarding, and smoothing is also required. For smoothing, Win method is there. Regression method, this that is called a curve fitting. You can smooth by that. A lot of method is there for that cleaning. Once you cleaning, then you can see data normalization is required or not, because sometimes your data is in big range, your values are very big. It will take a more memory and more processing time. If you want to represent in a small form, then you can normalize range 0 to 1, for example. If now your value in 0 to 1000, you can bring it in 0 to 1. So that is called normalization. So a lot of normalization approaches available. That is called min-max, z-score, decimal. So these are the methods for your normalization. Once you normalization, then there is one more step is there, that is called data reduction. So data reduction cases, the data reduction cases also, you can reduce the data. So data reduction is also very important. For data reduction is in different way you can reduce your data. Either you can select the only relevant feature from the data, or you can just suppress. Compression is one of the form of the data reduction, or you can represent another form, that is called numerosity reduction. You are not cutting the data, just you are representing in a smaller form. That is like a if you are drawing the histogram for single value, rather than you can go for draw the histogram for interval, then automatically, rather than if you are for single value you are representing by histogram, then suppose you have 100 value, then 100 histogram you have. But like you divide in two interval, 0 to 50 and 51 to 100, then you have only two histogram. So that is the smaller form. Similar way, other than this histogram, regression function, you can you rather than you can draw the rather than using the whole series of data, you can fit in a curve and only write the formula of that curve. So similarly, clustering is also one important method. Rather than representing whole data, you can classify in or 2 or 3 cluster, or only the represent diameter and center of cluster. So only 2, 3 values, 4 values. Suppose 2 cluster is there, so 2 diameter and 2 center required, rather than the whole data. So this is the data compression kind of things. Attribute selection is there. Yesterday also we discussed the attribute selection. If there are the 100 features, but all are the not relevant, then you can go for attribute selection method. Yesterday we discussed chi-square selection method. You can use also information gain, information ratio kind of. They are using just for splitting the range, but you can use also for calculating the rank of features. And you can use principal component analysis. You can Bayes transform also is there method for data reduction. So lot of methods is there for data reduction. You can, once you reduce the data, you can store some repository or one repository, that is called data warehouse. So, but it is not always a compulsory the warehouse. Without warehouse, you can use the data mining with some apply on simple file, rather than the, because data warehouse is represent data in a more dimension, that is at least 3 dimension, that is a queue. Because the 1 dimensional is your table, 1 dimensional is a vector, so 2 dimensional your table, 3 dimensional is your queue. When you talk to 4 dimension, then vector of queue. If you talk 5 dimension, then table of queue. If you say the 6 dimension, then you can say the structure is queue of queue. So this is the way to store the data. So it's not necessary always need a data warehouse with the data mining. So that's why this dotted line is there. So before data warehouse, storing the data in data warehouse, you have to perform lot of operation, that is a data collection, data integration, data cleaning, data normalization, data reduction. After that, you can store here. After storing in some repository, there again task relevant data is what is there. That means if you have store out of 180 attributes. Again, if you think for your particular query, executing a particular query, you don't want to consider 80 features, you want to consider only 50 features, or you want to consider 30 features. Again, you can apply this feature selection method, or task relevant data. You can only the task relevant attribute you can consider for data mining. This data mining is this engine is there that will execute your query for satisfying the executing the query, or according to your result. It will use either association rule mining function, either clustering function, classification function, kind of function it will use and generate the results. So once you have the results, you can evaluate your results using by measures. So using by measures, you can, number of measures is there. If you talk to association rule mining, then support is there, lift is there, confidence is there. Similarly, if you going for the classification, then you have accuracy, you have a recall, you have a precision. If you talk to clustering, then you have the error form, mean squared error, or this relative mean squared error. These kind of error you can use for evaluation and find the interesting rules. At last, you can present your knowledge in different form. That's why nowadays data visualization is very important. This data visualization everywhere help you. It will present your result in very attractive form. This will also, as a study also we discussed little bit, like a scattered plot, like quantile plot, box plot, histogram. So that all comes in your data visualization. And new graph this time available is DB Miner, or your MATLAB, or other software having a different kind of graph, or for data visualization. So you can use for knowledge presentation. So this is the whole your data mining, which I present here in the summary form. So this is called the KDD process. So now, what are the data mining functions which I am going to discuss here? So data mining functions is a characterization and discrimination, association rule mining, or association or correlation analysis, classification and prediction, cluster analysis, outlier analysis, and trend and evaluation analysis. So here in little bit I will say you characterizations. So characterization is very important. How you can characterize your data, that is a very important. So because when class level is not given, then you need a level of the class. So that kind of things is here, characterization. So you can say, for example, find the characteristics of the students whose rank under 10 in this in the JEE exam, for example. So if you have a data, now you want to characterize that the students who got a rank under 100 or under 10. That means the students, either they went any good coaching. If they went a coaching, then what was the coaching name? One thing. Or how much, how they did study. That means how many hours they spent for their study. So based on number of features, you can characterize your object. So that is a characterization. But what is the discrimination? When you doing comparison between two things, or sale of two items, like items, those sale is increased by 10% this year, compared to last year. You are comparing with the items, those sale is decreased by 10% from the last year. So you are by comparing, you are characterizing the object. So this is the discrimination and characterization. It's very important. Then association. Here you are finding the correlation between the two items for increasing your sale. Like here, relation between the diaper and beer. What is the buying pattern of the users? So if they are going to purchase a diaper, then this rule is says 75% confidence based on at 75% confidence. If a person is going to buy a diaper, he will also purchase a beer. So at 50% support. So this is the similarly correlation you can find between the two events. Similarly, you can find the correlation between the among or between the symptoms. If you are looking analyzing the medical data or disease data, as yesterday we were discussing about the LFT data, medical data, LFT data, liver patient data. So what is the relation between the total bilirubin and direct bilirubin? Either both appear together, or if DB is high, then TB is also high. Like then, or your diabetes data. If your weight is over, then diabetes is severe. That kind of correlation you can find in this under the association. Then classification and prediction. So generally classification using on categorical data cases, and prediction done continuous value or numerical data. So in classification case, you know the class label. According to the class label, you can construct the model for finding the level of unknown objects. So that is a classification. For classification, for prediction also, you are predicting the values based on your existing data. So number of methods is available here. We'll discuss decision tree, neural network classification, support vector machine, KNN. So a lot of methods for available for classification. Classification is called the supervised learning, based on supervised learning, because we know the class label. For clustering case, you don't know the class label. Based on the characteristics of the data, you are going to find out the class label. So based on the how you can train your model in clustering, based on the class label is unknown and group data to form a new classes. And yeah, that is the you suppose, for example, face recognition. So face recognitions, based on the intensity of the pixels, you can make a group of clusters like these pixels showing the cheek. These if high intensity pixels having the more similarity, then you can make, okay, this is the nose, tip of the nose. Like that, this is a class. You can cluster that all pixels based on their intensity. Similarly, so in clustering cases, maximize intra-cluster similarity. A cluster, those are the object, those are the inside the cluster. Their similarity should be a more than the intra-cluster, other cluster objects. So minimize the inter-cluster similarity or maximize intra-cluster similarities. So outlier analysis also, a particular object is not coming in, under the any cluster, then we can say, oh, this is the outlier. Like a fraud detection. So fraud detection, you know, the people are, you know, this time is the people are, if you are withdrawing the money, so you have, there is a one pattern for, you have a one habit, accordingly you are withdrawing your money. But suddenly someday somebody withdraw money from your account, that is unusual. So immediately the bank people or will alert you or SMS you. You can find, oh. So because this is the unusual behavior, so that kind of things come under outlier analysis. Trend and evaluation analysis. Trend analysis, we are using generally regression analysis or sequential pattern mining or periodicity analysis. So trend mining is if something is different from the trend. Suppose trend is sequential mining. People are generally going to purchase first. They will go for purchasing a television, color television. The next visit they will purchase a stabilizer, and third visit they go for the Tata Sky, and later on they go for the recharge. So this is the sequence. But usually then if we observe, there are the sequence now changing due to different behavior of the customer. So immediately will that target the business people, what is the reason behind that. So that's why where is the change in a trend. So that is the trend analysis. Or this trend analysis also stream data mining. This is also important in stream data mining. So because when you are running your car on a highway, so you are getting the no hurdles, no speed breakers or something. So your speed should maintain accordingly, because whatever the input is getting by the sensor, a front camera of your car. But suddenly there may be, because any animal can come on the road or something, or changes in a due to other hurdles, maybe changes. So that is also you can consider here. So these are the functions. So I am going to one by one discuss the functions. So what I will do, I am going to talk one method of all three: association rule mining, classification, and clustering. So first I'm going to start from association rule mining. So then so this is two-step process. In this association rule mining, first we will find out the frequent patterns. Once we have a frequent pattern, then we define the association rules. So what are the frequent patterns? So frequent patterns are pattern that occurs frequently in a data. Very simple. This pattern may be, as I said, items. This pattern may be a symptoms, set of symptoms. This pattern may be a set of events, set of objects, set of subgraph, set of substructure, set of subsequence. It can be anything, whatever you are considering. So the pattern that occurs frequently in a data set. So again, in market basket analysis, very important, playing a very important role of this frequent pattern. For example, which product is selling more, like a beer or diaper, or so accordingly your grocery store owner will arrange all the things accordingly. Your mall people can arrange their things accordingly, which are frequently purchased by the customers. So that will help you. Similarly, in other area, this will be very helpful. So again, I'm leaving this now. Same thing is here. So I'm discussing a basic method of this frequent pattern and association rule, how we can define. Suppose this is a very simple example is given here. You have there is the 5 transaction is there, and items bought are A, B, C, D, E, F are the items. So item set is defined by this in mathematically x1 to xk, and rule is the association rule can be represented in the form of x implies y. So X is an antecedent, or Y is a consequent. So X implies Y. That is the, in earlier example we took beer implies diaper, or A implies V in this example. So what is the support? There are the two important measures for evaluating the association rule. So support is defined by the S, which is the probability that transaction contain X union B. So both item, if rule is say X implies Y, so both item how many times together occurs in your database, that is your S. And what is the confidence is a conditional probability. What this says, that a transaction having X also contain Y. So this is evaluated by probability of X union Y divided by probability of X. So this is the confidence. For example, you can see here, suppose rule is A implies D. So what will be the support? So how you can find this support? You can count how many times A and D bought by the customer together. So you can see in first transaction, that is a one time. Again in second time, both are available together, so 2. And again in third transaction, this is available 3. So in out of 5, 3 times it is available. So its support is 3 by 5. Probability of A union B divided by the total number of transactions, that is a N. So you can see 3 by 5. So 3 by 5 is a 60%. If you convert it into percentage, it's a 60. Now, what is the confidence? So confidence is the again support of A union D divided by support of A. So support of A union D means how many times is available? 1, 2, and 3 times. Divide by support of A. So a support value of A is also 3. So that is the 3 by 3, that means 100%. Similarly, suppose see the just reverse rule. Reverse rule means rule is the D implies A. So D implies A, again how can calculate support? Where the D and A purchased together. So again in 3 transactions A or D available, that means a 3 by 5 into 100, that is 60%. But now the confidence will change. How the confidence will change? Because as per definition, this is the support of D union A, again a 3, but now divide by support of D. So support of D, you can calculate how many times D is available. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 by 4. 3 by 4, that means if you convert it into percentage, then it is the 75%. So this is a way to calculating the support and confidence of a particular rule. So there is this works on based on 2 properties. One property is a down closure property. That means any subset of a frequent item set must be frequent. If we have any frequent item set is a frequent, that means all its subsets should be must be frequent. For example, you can see this. You can see this example. Where the beer, diaper, and nuts is there. So if it is a frequent, that means if you generate subset of this, so 2 size subset may be a beer and diaper, other may be a beer and nuts, and diaper and nuts. So 3 2 size subset we will generate. All should be a frequent. Similarly, if we go for single, size frequent item set. That means beer itself a frequent, diaper is also should be a frequent, and nuts also. That is the property. Similarly, in go for just pruning principle or other opposite mm, property. If there is any item set which is infrequent, its superset should not be generated or tested. That means if any item set is infrequent, then no need to check its superset. So these two properties will help you for generating the frequent patterns and further define the association rule. So there's the very known algorithm. This is given by the R. Agrawal and R. Srikant in 1993, which is the landmark algorithm in area of the data mining. So how it will work? We can scan the data first time and generate the one item set, a single find the frequency of single item sets, and generate and find the frequent item set using the pruning method. Then go for generate a two item set by help of the one item set, candidate two item set, and again go for the check their frequency and test the data, and again create a third item set. Similarly, we can continue up to the no frequent item set or no candidate item set found. So this loop will be step second and third will be continue till no frequent item set or no candidate item set can generated. So this is a very known example. I think all of you know. Again, there are the 4 transactions, and each transaction having the separate item set, and first transaction having the ACD, second one BCE, third ABCE, or fourth is B. You can scan the data and count the frequency of each individual item set. So A is appear 2 times, B is appear 3 times, C is appear in 3 times, D is appear 1 time. C 3 times, D 1 time, or E 1. Suppose we fix our minimum support 2 as a threshold value, then D we cannot consider for our analysis purpose. So we have only frequent item set, that is called L1, set L1, A, B, C, E. D is infrequent. Now this is the one item set, frequent one item set. Now we want to find the 2 item sets frequent. So we have to combine, create a super set of this, 2 size superset of this, and see. So this is there are the way to combine the all one item set. A will pairing to rest other items. So A will pair with B, so AB, then C, so AC, then E, so AE. Now we come on B, so again we will make a pair rest one except A because this already done. So BC and BE. Similarly, C can again pair a rest except B or A, so CE. So we'll get these 2 item sets, that is called candidate 2 item set. They are not a frequent. So again we can go scan the database and count the their frequency, how many times AB came together. So you see AB here came 2 times, AB here 1 time, and no, AB came is 1 time, so AB is a 1. AC is 2 times, AC in first and third transaction. Similarly, AE came 1 time and rest. So again we apply the threshold value is 2. So AB having the threshold minimum support less than threshold value, and AE also having the less than threshold value than AE. So both we will discard, and now we have a frequent 2 item set, that is a AC, BC, BE, and CE. What you can do now, now we need pairing we have to pairing all 2 item set to form 3 item set. So there is the one rule for form. If you are going to merge 2k size item sets, then each one should having k minus 1 length should be a same. That is a prefix. So see here, if you want to merge AC with rest, you cannot merge, because that the in 2 size item set you are going to make a 3 size item set. Then in both case 2 minus 1 size should be a same. So there is no other item having the first A. That means AC cannot be merged anyone with anyone. So we can discard it. Now come BC. BC can merge with BE, because in BC and BE both one size, one length prefix are same. In both cases B are same, so third item set will be formed like BCE. BCE. Similarly, CE cannot merge with anyone, so only we'll get a 1/3 item set. For this rule will applicable for other greater than k cases when you are merging the 2k size item set for getting the k plus 1 item set. So this is a third item set. Now again you count how many time it is available. So BCE also 2 time available. So this is a frequent. So now this is a single item set. We can stop it, because now we cannot generate a 4 candidate item set. So we can stop the method. So this is a way to generate all frequent item set. Once we have all frequent item set, we can define the rule. That is a X implies Y. So this is the a priori algorithm. So I'm not going to talk this a priori algorithm. But what is the problem with this this method? It take multiple scan of the database. If your database having the 1 lakh records, 50,000 record, or 5 lakh records, then how many time you will go and scan the data? That is a big issue. And every time you have to generate a huge number of candidate. And third thing, for each candidate you have to done the support counting process. So these 3 things is very creating the problem and slow this approach. That's why this is a drawback. Further, the people lot of improvement came in this approach. So I'm not going to talk all, but I'm going to say some small things, some 2 3. One is very important is this is the partitioning method. In partitioning method we can partition the data in because we cannot access the whole data in number of time. So or we cannot fit the whole data in memory. Then we can make a clusters of the data, chunk of the data, or different data sets. Suppose you have 100 records, so you can divide in 2 data sets. One having the 1 to 50, another having 51 to 100. So in this way you can partition the data and find the local frequent item set from each partition and merge them and globally check them in second scan, globally check their frequency in whole data. So this is the partition method. Another method is sampling method. What is saying, don't create a pattern from the whole data. Rather you can go for only take a samples. There are a number of sampling method also available. Using anyone a good sample method and make a new data set that is called sample data set. You can run your a priori on that sample data sets rather than the whole data set. So you can save your time. So that is the sampling method. There are also sampling method, stratified sampling method. You can use the replacement, with replacement, without replacement, like other methods are also available of the sampling. Similarly, direct item set counting also is Here it is not counting the or pairing the all in the like a priori manner. Only the frequent item set form a higher value of their superset and count their value. If and count their frequency. If it is a frequent, that means all its subset is frequent according to the first property. So you can also use this DIC is also. So again, I am saying the it will take this kind a priori, or the methods are taking multiple data will scan, that is a costly, and mining long pattern need a many passes of scanning and generate the lots of candidate. So this is also given in your book. If you have 100 item sets, then how many candidate you have to generate? If all are the frequent, then you have number of one item set pairing will be 10 to 100 power 1, two item set pairing again for 10 to the power 2, or for 100 pairing of the 100, that is 100 power 100. So it is equal near about 1.27 multiply 10 to the power 30. That much of the combinations you will get. So that is a very big figure. So if your machine is processor is busy for doing this kind of the jobs. So looking for the candidate, this is the candidate generation and test method. So can we avoid this? So there is another method which is work based on without candidate generation. So without candidate generation method is the frequent FP tree. This is also very well known tree. It will take only 2 scans for it will take only 2 scan for generating the frequent patterns. In one scan, it will generate the all frequent item set. That is this list is given, and arrange them in sorting order, decreasing order. So that is list arrange. And second scanning, when you are going to second time scan, you have to draw this structure that is called the tree structure. So now your whole database is compressed in form of this tree structure. So this tree structure, with the help of this tree structure, you can generate the all frequent item sets. So that is called the conditional based pass. For every item, you have to generate the conditional pattern tree, and by help of this tree, you can generate all frequent item sets. So this is the very, I'm not going to one by one step. So this is the this will take at only what is the advantage behind this. So this work based on divide and conquer concept, which decompose both the mining task and database according to the frequent pattern obtained so far, and lead to focus search of a smaller database, because you have to every time go on access your that is structure, that is a tree. So what are the advantage of this? No candidate generation is there, no candidate test is there, and you are not scanning the data again and again. You are just compressing it into form of the tree structure. So that is the advantage of this. So next is this is the lot of things is there. Multi-dimensional association rule mining is there. Multi-level association rule mining is there. So people are working on that. Now next is the classification and prediction. So what is the role of the classification? Again, is classify. It will help you for classifying your data, but based on the model can be trained on given class level data. Once you train the model, then you can test this model, or you can use to find the class of unknown objects. So in generally, this is predicts the category class labels. For numerical case class, if you want to the numerical or continuous values, you can use the regression. But if you are predict the categorical class level, then you need using the, you can use the classification. The value may be as discrete or nominal. So classify data based on the training set, and the value is in classifying attribute and use it in classifying a new data, as I said. So again, the application of this classification is the credit approval. The credit approval, they will find how they will issue the credit card or loan. They will see the your behavior or last behavior, last your is there any how was the your you know your past behavior, or for other loan cases. So accordingly, if a person is income is good, and if he taken the earlier any loan and giving the EMI time to time, based on they will classify you are a good customer or not. Targeting marketing is also medical diagnosis, fraud detection. Everywhere you can use this classification. So this is the again a two-step process. One is the model construction, another is a once your model is constructed and tested, then you can use this model. So in construction of the model, you can trend your model based on the class level data, because that is work on based on supervised learning. So each tuple and sample is assumed to be belong a predefined class as is determined by the class level attribute. The set of attribute used for model construction is called the training set. So in generally, if you have 100 tuples, then you can use 75 or 80% record for the training purpose, and 20 record you can use for the you can use for testing purpose. You cannot use the whole data for as a training. Same of half of the data or 25% you cannot use for testing, but otherwise overfitting problem will come. So for this there are the decision tree or mathematical formula is available, or number of classification approaches available for training, model training. And model uses you can estimate or find the accuracy. If your accuracy is good, then you can choose the model. If your classifier not giving the accuracy is less, then sometime we can looking for other approach. So as I said, you test data is independent of the training set, otherwise overfitting problem will come. So this is the model construction. This is again given in your book. You can 80% data you can take for the class training purpose, and remaining 20% data you can use for testing purpose. So what is this model training is saying? You pick the pick one by one of your tuple or record and throw given your machine, then machine parameter can adjust accordingly. Then similarly another record, then third record, and you can make some rules at finally through your training model, like if rank is equal to professor or year greater than 5, then you can say that object will go or that record will go to yes class. So similar way you can model. Once you trained the model, now you can test the for unknown cases. Then when the unseen data will come, so unseen data is saying this is a Jeff is any person, his post is professor, and his year is a 4. So based on this rule, either one of the conditions should be satisfied. So first condition is satisfying, that means this Jeff will go in yes class. So like that you can test your object with unknown unknown label. So as I said you, this work classification work based on the supervised learning, and clustering is based work on the unsupervised learning. So the training data are accompanied by the label indicating the class of the observations, and new data is classified based on the model built on the training sets. That is a supervised learning, unsupervised learning. The class level of training data is unknown. So given a set of measurement or observation, etc., with aim of establishing the existence of class or clusters in the data. We'll discuss in detail this clustering. So what kind of the issues when you are going for classifying the data? So accuracy. So accuracy, classifier accuracy, predicting class level, and regression accuracy, guessing value of predicted attributes. So cluster accuracy should be high. Speed, where the speed is required, because time, this is related to time to construction or training time of a model. So it's depend on some time, some model will take a more time, some model will take a less time. Similarly, time of use of model. So when the your model is trained, now you are using for predicting, so how much time will take? So if time will take is less and accuracy is more, then people will say this classifier is good. Robustness is also, suppose data having the noise or missing values, how your classifier is able to handle. If it is not able to handle, then problem will come. Then you will not get a correct results. Scalability also important issue for your classifier, because when your number of record are more, number of data is more in both dimension as well as vertical or horizontally. So how your method is managed with that, our classifier is able to manage. And interpretability, the understanding and insight provided by the model. If you are easily interpret the things or behavior of your classifier, then it is acceptable by the peoples. So how this decision training train your data? So decision training tree is giving you some rules. So for this, we can use like we have a age, income, student, credit rating, and why customer. There are the 5 features in data. So which feature we can choose, which one will be a root node of your tree. This is decided by the some methods that is called the splitting point methods. So in generally, there are the 3 methods generally people are using for in decision tree. That is the information gain, information ratio, and Gini index. Information gain ratio, and Gini index. These are the 3 methods for. So otherwise the people will ask you how the age will come here on top. So based on the splitting point method, finding the splitting point, so which attribute is the best, giving a more gain value, which one is comes on a first this on the top root, a top node. So age is a top node. Now you can see you have to divide the split point here inside the age. So 3 split point is found in a age. One is a less than 30, second is a age is a 31 to 40, and rest age is greater than 40. Now you have to classify accordingly. Now based on this age, again you have to find out student. That second attributes will come. Again there is a student is also having 2 values, so either no, either yes. So you can classify based on these 2 attributes your whole data. If a student having the age less or equal 30, and no, a person having the age is less or equal 30, and that person is a student, and if he is a student, then your tuple will go in S class. If is no student, then it will go no class. Similarly, for further, if age greater than 40, then again you can find then through this split point method, you can find the credit rating is the another valuable attributes that will having the higher information gain. Then you can choose for the splitting this subtree. Then again this credit rating having also two values, fair and excellent. So this bifurcate in two branch, excellent and fair. Accordingly, you can draw this tree. This may be a very big tree, and according to you will find the rules, that is called the classification rules. Based on these rules will help you to classify the whole data. So this is the algorithm for the decision tree, and these are the three methods as I talk to you. One is the information gain, which is used by these two methods. ID3 is one of the classifiers, C4 also, C4.5 also one of the classification. They use the information gain for finding the gain of each attribute. Attribute having the highest gain then become a choose for splitting, become a node of the tree. So first time we got age is, second time for this case age less than 30 we got student is having the higher information gain, but greater than 40 case credit rating got a higher. So in this way we can split the tree. Similarly, another gain ratio is there. Another attribute is gain ratio, which is used by the C4.5, and another attribute this is the another method measure is the Gini index. So either you can use out of three you can use any one for doing this for splitting your tree and finding the split point inside the your attribute. So this is used by the CART and intelligent miner, which is developed by the IBM. So each one having its own pros and cons. Information gain is biased towards multi-valued attributes. If any attribute having the value are changing more value, for example, you can see here income high, low, medium, student having two value, credit point having two value. This is a class level, but age having the more range. So any attribute having the multiple value, then info gain of that attribute will be a more. So that's why they're saying wise towards the multiple values. And the gain ratio tend to prefer unbalanced split, in which one partition is much smaller than. So when you use the gain ratio, then no, you cannot balance the split will not be done. This is the problem with the gain ratio. Gini index also biased for multi-valued attributes, and also it is saying has difficulty when number of classes is large. In our last example, there was only two class, yes or no, but it's saying if when class are more, then Gini index is not giving the good output. So these are the three measures you can use for the design your tree. So what is the problem with your this tree? Classification this decision tree. One problem is come, that is a overfitting problem will come. If there is a noise, anomalies is there, outliers is there, then your tree will be is very overfitting problem will come. Tree may be a very high, and there may be a redundancy in a tree, or duplicate tree is also available, subtree is also available, and poor accuracy will be a less. So how can handle these overfitting in a decision tree? So there are the two methods. One is the pre-pruning and another is a post-pruning. So what is this pre-pruning? Instructions early. Do not split a node if this would result in goodness measures falling below the threshold. What they are saying, you can choose some threshold value, and every time when you are doing the construction or seeing every point of construction, you can calculate the threshold value. If it is under the threshold value, then you can further bifurcate any node. If it is beyond your threshold value, then don't split further the subtree. That is the saying the pre-pruning. But what the post-pruning saying? Once you complete your design your whole tree from your data set, after that you can remove the branch. Whatever branch having duplicating, whatever branch is like that, you can delete it. So that is the pre-pruning and post-pruning operations. Anyone you can use for to handle overfitting problem. So these are the some improvement on decision tree. That is the public, reinforce, that is a random forest, and boot. These three methods are given by the people in 98, 98 and 99. So you can go. Other classifiers are available. Others classifier also available. That are the Bayesian classifiers, which is based on the Bayes theorem. Another is a rule-based classifier. You can find out the rule, association rules, and further if a rule, or you can design a rule from your data, and according to you can classify. Back propagation method is there. Neural network is there. You can also train your model by artificial neural network concept. Support vector machine is also as a best considered as a best classifier. Also KNN method, that is the K nearest neighbor. So these classifier are available. You can also all ready-made function is available in all softwares. You can run, you can check their behavior, how they are working, what are the principle of these classifiers. You can check for classification purpose. These are the how to measure the accuracy of classifier. So we have a confusion matrix. So this is a confusion matrix. You can see here for two classes confusion matrix is here, C1, C2, C1, C2. True positive means, for example, you can see object are yes class and they are also classified in correct class. Then it is called the true positive. But and similarly true negative, they are the labeled by the no class and already classify in a no class. Then correct classification is done, that is a true negative. Here false negative, false positive, this is a false positive. False positive, they are the yes class attributes, but they classified as a no. So that's a false positive. Similarly, a false negative, they are a no class attribute but classify as a yes class. So that is the whenever you are going to use any classifier, you have to generate a confusion matrix. That confusion matrix will help you to calculate accuracy. So how you can calculate accuracy? There is the formula for sensitivity. There are the specificity formula is there, precision is there, accuracy you can calculate, or 1 minus accuracy is you can say the misclassification rate. So these will help you. These measures are there for calculating accuracy of classifier. If accuracy is high, there will be classifier will be accepted. So for prediction also you can use mean squared error, relative squared error. So you can use these measures for your prediction is correct or not. So this is the. So last is our cluster analysis. So as this is work based on the unsupervised learning, so this is also a one type of classification, but here data level is we don't know, not available. So just based on the characteristics of the attributes, we can trend the model and we can classify. Once we trend the model, we can make a clusters of unknown data, unknown class data. So cluster is a collection of data objects. So similar to one another within a same group. A similar cluster will come in a one group, and dissimilar cluster will go in another group. So in this way you can going to make a cluster. As I took a good example earlier, just for you are going to for face recognition. So based on pixel intensity, you are making the grouping of pixels. So automatically the cheek pixels will come in another group, nose pixels will come in another group, cluster, like that. Cluster analysis, finding similarity between the data according to the characteristics found in the data and grouping similar data objects into the clusters. This is based on the unsupervised learning. So these are the applications of clustering in information retrieval, document clustering. Based on the characteristics of document, you can make a cluster of the document. Land uses, they are you can use in identification of area of the similar land on in earth. You can do marketing also, discover a distinct group in their customer bases. Customer bases, like they are making the group of when the companies, mobile companies are planned for the launching a recharge scheme for your phone. Accordingly income of the people, they are making the clusters. Accordingly they call you and inform a new policies. City planning is also according to identifying same type of houses. They plan the city, and government rate also they plan according to house or land or road and other facilities. So they find the groups. Other for climate change or everywhere you can find the clustering applications. So what is the good clustering? If any cluster having the intra-class similarities, if they are more cohesive, then we can say the intra-class similarities. Within the cluster, their similarity should be a more, and outside the cluster, object with the outside clusters, that it should be a distinctive, or intra-cluster similarity should be a low intra-cluster similarity, or it should be a distinctive between clusters. The quality of cluster methods depend on similarity measure used by the method. Means what kind of similarity methods we are going to use. In maximum time, we will use the distance function for measuring the similarity, and implementation of your model, and ability to discover some or other or hidden patterns. These are decide your quality of your clusters. Sometimes it's called the soft cluster, hard clusters, overlapped clusters. So how can we measure dissimilarity or similarity of any cluster? So in general, we can use the distance functions. So lot of distance functions are usually differ for your data type. If your data in vector variable or categorical or ordinal or interval scale or boolean, so according to your data, nature of data, you can choose a different distance function or distance for calculating formula for finding the clusters. So requirement and challenges, scalability again, clustering all the data instead of only a one sample. Clustering is usually done for the whole data. It's not for us clustering for done on sample. Ability to deal with the different type of attributes, because when you, as I said, if your data type is different, if it is a numerical, you have to choose another distance function. If it is a binary, again change. If your data represent in form of the vector, then again you have to change. If data is ordinal, nominal, mixture data, so when data is changed, automatically you have to change distance function. So sometime constraint are also given. You have to make a clusters based on some constraint. So, sometime it is given by the domain people. So then this is also not giving a good result. Other thing is sometime a problem will come, what kind of shape we are getting of a clusters. So discovery of clusters with arbitrary shape. That is also, if noise is there, then also we can, the cluster shape will be a differ and will not get a good clusters. Incremental clustering and insensitivity to the output order. This is also creating the problem. And high dimensional, if data is a very high dimension, that is also giving you a problem, creating a problem for getting the clusters. Major clustering approaches are partitioning approach, hierarchical approach, density based approach, and grid based approach. So, and other are the model based approach, frequent partition based approach, user guided and constraint based approach, and link based clustering. So these are the various method of clustering. So partitioning ways, what you are doing in, you can partition the whole data in number of number of k clusters. After that, you can trying to minimize a sum of squared error. So after every time you are changing the center of clusters and finding the minimizing of your error, if your error is minimized, then you can say the whatever cluster you found is correct. So this is a partition, but hierarchical methods are different. It is working based on algorithmic and divisive approaches is there. So in both cases, you are either you are supposing individual object is a cluster, then you are merging and finding the correct cluster. And another way, you are decomposing the whole set, you are supposing the cluster. Now you are decomposing and minimizing the error. So in this way also, this is the hierarchical. So k-mean, k-modified, and clearance are the partition based approach. Then Dyna, bridge, chameleon, these are the hierarchical method. Density is based on density. So we can use some density function. So where are when the skewed data, then we can go for density based approach. So dbScan, optics, DenClue, these are the density based approaches. Some are the grid based approach. When data are sparse, or when you are using multi-level granularity structures, then you can means when you go there are data is defined in multiple level, then you can use the grid based approach. So web clusters, ClickQ, string, these are the grid based clustering approach. Model based approach, so you can set some hypothesis, and based on that you are trying to fit your that data in particular model. So based on, you can using that is the model based or heuristic search you are using. So SOM, EM, COBABE, these are the model based approach. Frequent pattern mining based approach, so you can apply association rule mining, find the frequent pattern, then you can go for based on frequent patterns you can make a clusters. So that is the P cluster is one of the method is available. User guided, if constraint, number of constraint user specified or domain person giving some constraint based, you are doing the clustering, that is called the constraint based clustering. COD method is available. Link based method is when the there are some relations is defined by the some link. When you are like a graph kind of method, data in graph form, then you can use the link based clustering. So some method are available here for link club, SIMRank, these are the methods for clustering. So basic approach is here a partitioning approach. So partitioning approach using, you can use the k-mean or k-modide. So what this says, a partitioning approach, what this partitioning approach says, you have to partition the data into n objects. No, yeah, sorry. Partition a database D of n object into, you are going to partition in k clusters. So you can suppose k is a good value for divide your data in k parts. So you can divide at random n object into k clusters and define this squared sum of squared error using this formula and try to minimize. Every time you have changed the get an appropriate cluster or average value of or mean value of inside the clusters and change the shape of clusters, or every time calculate this squared sum of squared error and minimize it. Once if there is no changes, then you can stop your process. So this is based on either k-mean or k-modide. So this k-mean, how this k-mean part clustering will work: partition object into a k non-empty subset, compute a seed point as a centroid of cluster of the current partition. The centroid is the center, that is the mean point of the clusters. Assign each object to cluster with the nearest seed point and go back to step 2, stop when the assignment does not change. So see, you can it will be a more clear by this clustering, this figure. See, this is our data. All data points are shown by the green color dotted point. Now suppose we are going to partition the data in 2 parts. So arbitrarily we will say this green point in one cluster and this red star is showing another clusters. Now you can assign the mean, find the mean of this group and another group. So the green color, this blue circle is the center point, and for red star, this is the center point. Now you calculate your sum of squared error. Again, once you find this is the mean, again you reassign the objects based on which point is near with this mean and which point are near with this mean. Accordingly, small changes is there. This point earlier it was the near to it was the group of this green dot, but now it is changes position and it is a near to the this center of the red star. Similarly, again you find once you reassign the group of the objects, again you calculate a mean and calculate a squared error. So this operation will continue until no changes is found. So accordingly, at last when we minimize the sum of squared error, and then all point exact mean comes, exact mean will find, and around the all objects come around that mean. So we'll get a separate clusters. So what is the weakness of this k-mean problem? What is the weakness of this k-mean method? Selection of most of the variance k-mean which is differ. No, sorry. Weakness of this is applicable only object into a continuous n dimension space. Here distance function, or you can use any one distance function. Euclidean distance generally people are using. You can use the Bhattacharya distance is also there. or other Manhattan distance formula is there. You can use any distance formula. Using the K-mode method of the categorical comparison K-mean. Yes. Yeah, for K-mean cases, what is the problem? You need to specify K. One that is, and it is also sensitive for sequence of data. And you have to specify K, the number of cluster in advance, and sensitivity to noise and outliers. It is that this K-mean is very sensitive if there is outlier and noise, and how many K you are taken, this is also very sensitive, and order of data, whatever you are putting in your model, that is also a sensitive, and this is not suitable to discover a cluster with non-convex shapes. Convex shapes, some maximum time it will give you, but non-convex shape, this is not, because if your data will produce non-convex shape, but it will bring it as a convex form. So that is also a problem with this K-mean method. So the next version of this is a K-modes. So K-modes method used for the categorical data. K-mean method used for the numerical data, and K-mode or K-modoid is used for the categorical data. So there is also one example of given this K-modoid. K-modoid case, you can choose the frequency of data, which objects frequency are more. So this is the example of K-modoid. I'm not going to talk. So you can see this also the K-modoid, but this is used for categorical data. Now measuring clustering quality. So this has two methods is there. Extrinsic or intrinsic methods is there.
Sir, Dr. Thakur,
yes.
Screen is not visible. You are showing screen?
Yes.
It is not visible. Participants are mentioning.
No, it's no, your screen is still visible to others. Click to cancel your presentation. ठीक है, आप देखना मैडम. स्क्रीन आई?
Yes, sir.
So this is measuring clustering quality. Oh. Wait. So extrinsic and intrinsic methods. The extrinsic is based on supervised, and compare a clustering against the ground truth using a certain clustering quality measures. That is the precision, recall, and F measures kind of the things is there when you are finding the which one is a good clusters. So we'll calculate the precision, recall, F measures. Or intrinsic is a unsupervised cases. The ground truth is available. That is the ground truth is available. The evaluate the goodness of the clustering by considering how well the cluster are separated and how compact the clusters are. So sometime I think purity kind of purity is also one of the measures is here for calculating the clustering, the good clusters or quality of the clusters. So number of other measures are available for calculating the quality of your clusters. So yeah, so this is the reference because I am referring this only this is not my personal slides. I am referring this Hennen Kemper book slides for this introduction of or function of data mining. So this is a little about the data mining and KDD process or major data mining functions. That is a characterization, discrimination, and association rule mining, classification, and clustering. So all ready-made method I think available, whatever I discussed, or other than this also number of method or inbuilt method are available in your ready-made softwares is there, Python and Vika and dbMiner, are having the all clustering, classification, and association approaches there. You can play with the data, you can apply the approaches and interpret your data. That will be the one steps of your data mining. And because the most of there is no any straightforward method for the analyzing the data, because suppose you have the result of the one method and you given to the 10 people, that the interpretation of 10 people may be a differ, even though you are giving the measures value also them, but their interpretation may be so that the interpretation will come up after the expertise. So you can play with the data, you can learn so many things via some different methods and their experience with that working with the data. So this is little about the data mining and function of data mining. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Participants, the stage is open for question. You may unmute your mic and ask. Mr. Thomas had a query. I think in between he sends a message.
कहाँ लिखा है, आप पढ़ेंगी क्या कहीं? मैंने देखा नहीं.
सर मैंने आपके व्हाट्सएप पे भी शेयर किया.
अच्छा, मैं देखूं, एक सेकेंड.
मैं पढ़ूं क्वेश्चन?
मैडम, हाँ मैं देख रहा हूँ क्वेश्चन कहाँ है. Association diaper beer, is it monitored by the point of sale or elsewhere? Query from the participant. Actually, in this case, this is just for example. For example, as I said yesterday, I took the one data for the LFT test data. So if you are finding the relation between the two symptoms, so either they appeared or they having the higher value or critical range together or not, or what kind of relation between the two symptoms. So it's not like only cell cases. Which kind of application using you are using in that application, how you can fit the concept of association rule mining or concept of market basket analysis, you can fit anywhere. Even though when you are finding the association of the time and crowd, or time and number of vehicles in a any square, traffic for traffic handling. So or you can find any association of two events. So anywhere you can use this kind of the relation, not like a cell. Everywhere you can use where you feel like it will correct. Because one important thing of the data mining is a very major issues for what kind of knowledge you want to find, and for that knowledge which method is appropriate. So this is also the issue. It's not easy to where you to everywhere you can apply association or clustering or classification.
Sir, there is
Another question is there
by Mr. Nandan Joshi that
no,
any
no. The
practical
Thomas
data
sir is
set
also
is
written. The doubt is because of volume of merchandise in क्या लिखा हुआ है is high, in very high, is in very high. Yes, yes. Yeah, volume. See, volume. How to handle this volume? See, that's why, sir. As I said, there's the feature selection kind of things is there. Sometimes the features is not relevant. You can apply first before. If your data is heavy volume, you can use for any feature selection method and rank your features and consider only higher ranked feature. Then in this way you can reduce your parameters, one thing. And second thing, if your records are number of records, if they are also, there are missing value, if they are outliers, you can also cut that. Then you can somehow you can reduce your size. Yes.
any practical data set available for test the algorithms?
Yeah,
This is the question.
all see all Kaggle website and UCI repository will give you all standard data, because when you see the research paper, they mention the Kaggle, Kaggle something, Kaggle website and UCI repository, University of California, Irvine. That website available all standard data sets for data mining. But the same data you cannot just download or apply. You have to apply the pre-processing operation according to your algo. You have to rearrange this, then you can use it. How to deal the k-means for big data accepting input and more attribute? Accepting in more attribute. Big data accepting. See, because the all things are related to your analysis basis. So Manoj Dikshit ji, this is very simple. See, how we know the particular method is capable or not. The very easy way to test it. Suppose you can suppose I am taking the class. There are two ways. One way is you can send me 1,000 students are there and I will go and speak. Then maybe the half of the student they can say I am not able to listen the Dr. Thakur voice, or the board is not visible. Then what you will do? You can based on your experience, you say the 400 students out from the class. Now the 600 is there. Again, I will start my class. Then again you can ask the students. Again the 100 people will say we are able to visible the board, but it's not a clear. Then you say out from the class. So you are measuring my capability by this way. Is it clear? By first you check whole data, then you are cutting the data. A similar way, k-mean is ready-made algorithm is available in your all softwares. Now you give your whole data, whatever you have. If you are getting the predefined clusters always given in your data. Sometime if the predefined cluster is not given, then what we will do, we will test on k various value of k. We can run your algorithm for k is equal to 2, for k is equal to 3, for k is equal to 5, k is equal to 6, and which case squared some error you got lesser, and other, if you got for 3, then you can say this 3 is okay. Sometimes they may be differ, predefined class is given 2, but for k is equal to 3, your your result is good. Then you should if you have a good explanation, then people will accept. So you can test your k-mean in this way. Run on 1 lakh data. If you are mean squared error, you can cut. If it's taking more time, you can mean squared error, you note down somewhere. Then you can go for 80,000 record, then go for 60,000 record. Or where you are going to found stable value of a sum of squared error, you can say only k-mean is capable for this much of amount.
Okay.
Yeah, same way.
So,
Because everything is
so what
plain.
about the data integrity then?
Yeah.
What about data integrity then? If we are keep removing the data which I like, so integrity will be somewhere to violated.
Data integration.
Yeah.
No, data integration, I said you, data integration is, see, suppose here we are using like when you download data from the UCI. So you are working is there. So I think no meaning of the data integration. Suppose you are going to collect the diabetes data of 10 hospitals from the Bhopal city.
Yeah.
So when you collect your data from 10 hospitals of diabetes data, each may be in different format, maybe attribute name are the different. And what is your motto? Accordingly to you have to define a new schema, and you have to bring that data from different source to bring in your. That time again, as I said you, see, as a human can do according to his or her own intelligence, but machine cannot do. For machine, if you are going to writing the program in for automatically if it is doing integration, then you have to write a program like for chi-square test for similarity measuring, for either the both attribute of the same or not, which you are going to merge, for correlation or covariance, and feature creation, feature deletion. Lot of operation is required, duplicacy. So depend.
Yes, sir.
But this is not for a single person work. That is the group of people will work.
It has to be done in a team.
Yes.
It has to be done in a team, sir. That's what I'm saying. So thank you, sir.
that cases. But of single cases, as you said, how to measure the k-mean, then you can download any data if it is having the 10 lakh record. You cannot just pass. You have to, yesterday I have shown you lot of things, statistical analysis you should go for. Then you can see the clear picture. Is there any missing value? Is there outlier? Is there everything you watch, correct it. Then you can pass in any algo, even though everything is ready-made after that also.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.